there's 3 members off with the driver and all. They're just put in mode, taking them into custody here.
Welcome back to The Code. Rob Magao, my normal host that's with me. Rich McKeegan, sick today, couldn't be here. But I'm here at Ascension Athletics in Bristol, Connecticut with Dan Mina and
Hello.
Jeff Haddad. They're the owners of the academy here. And then Joey Carta as well. Welcome, guys.
Welcome. How's it going?
Good. Excellent. I've never been to your school before, but it's awesome so far. I've only been here a few minutes. Can't wait to get on the mats one of these days and come down and train with you guys. So just briefly kind of go around the table and kind of explain who you are, how you got into martial arts, and how you ended up in this academy here.
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Dan Mina. I'm the co-owner along with my partner here, Jeff Haddad of Ascension Athletics. We also run Ascension Combat, which is an open tournament, Jiu-jitsu tournament, and Ironman, which is a professional grappling tournament. I've been into martial arts my whole life. I always say I was a ninja. My whole life I just didn't know the moves. I started out, I had a really good best friend that we would watch Gracie videos, we would watch Rob Magao videos on VHS at the time, all the time. And then one day I stumbled upon a Groupon through an ex-girlfriend that wanted to do a Krav Maga class, and I was like, all right, I've done this a lot, but I'll go. And that was in 2013 was my first taste of jiu-jitsu. So I'm at this school, a Krav Maga school, and I'm doing this class, and ultimately I see them doing jiu-jitsu on the side. I was like, what are they doing over there? And the jiu-jitsu school was just renting space out of there. It was actually Doug Lindquist's school.
Oh,
He was in
Black Hole.
Yeah, when he was down in
yeah.
Naugatuck at the time.
Old school Rob Con guy.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mentioned it to them, and the Krav Maga school was like, no, that's separate. They just rent here. I was like, okay, I want to do that. So I actually came back.
Don't leave me.
Yeah.
It's cooler than us.
Yeah. So I came back the next day and did jiu-jitsu with Doug and the Tive brothers. They were purple belts at the time. And I never left the mats after that. I knew that this is what I wanted to do forever.
That's always the experience rolling with them.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Especially that chin strap.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. At that time, I was like, just like anybody that starts jiu-jitsu, I was like, how is this person doing this to me? You know, and I can't do anything about it. So.
And then you continued on with jiu-jitsu, and where'd you get your all?
Yeah. So I
ended up joining up with. Or?
I ended up joining with them, and I was there. I got my blue belt through Doug about 6 months into my jiu-jitsu journey, and then they moved to Seymour, which was even farther for me. I had a little break in between where I started working in Bloomfield, and then I was actually switched over to Gracie Farmington Valley back when he was in his old spot.
Terraville.
Terraville.
That's the first.
Yeah,
place.
I love that school.
That was the first spot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you there when before the wall or after he took the wall down?
I'm not sure. I think it was a pretty open space, so I would say the wall was down. Yeah. And but he wasn't there that long, so it was definitely after the wall, because he was there for like another year and then he left. And I was like, man, this keeps happening to me. And then I moved into Bristol, and then I started going back to Doug. So I was making a 40-minute trip to Seymour, and then I found out Bristol had a school that was just opened, and I started dabbling here at Ascension Athletics when we were on Main Street, and it's my hometown. He was in a new school along with Matt Bissett, and I've always been a pretty savvy business person, and I loved jiu-jitsu so much at the time that I was going like everywhere to train. One of my first tournament, I think it was a month after I started training, was New England sub.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Did you like it?
It changed my life. I was a white belt. My semifinal, it was no time limit at these things. So my semifinal match went like 35 minutes, and I'm like, looking at it now, I was like, I didn't know anything. I was just like, it was just bad jiu-jitsu for 30 minutes.
Welcome.
And then the finals went like 40 minutes. So I was like, I always say that changed me as a person that day.
It's funny, you're not the first person to say that. When I first came with the idea back here, because we hadn't had any of these kind of tournaments in Connecticut, and a friend of mine, Trent Long, he runs a school, he trains at a school out in Idaho. and he had ran a tournament like this out there, and I got to talking to him. He's a black belt under the same association I am, and he gave me all the ins and outs of it. So I came back here, I talked to Brad. I'm like, we got to do this. And at first they're all like, I don't know, man, no time limits. How long are these things gonna go? Like, who cares? Let's just see what they can do. And it's definitely different.
It was an epic tournament.
Tough.
Yeah. Those were great. That was. I mean, there's so many stories about New England sub only. I mean, and you guys were one of the first ones running around here that style, especially with the no time limit. But my long story short is I was dabbling in going to so many different jiu-jitsu gyms. I took a lot of what people were doing, good, bad, and different, and was coming back to my hometown here in Bristol. I was just throwing these things at Jeff and Matt, and ultimately we came into a partnership where it led to me being co-owner with them, and the rest is history. The rest is rocking out. Yeah.
And how did you get Ascension all off the ground and everything? What's your background? You wrestled, obviously, right? In college, I think?
Yeah. So I'll just do quick time, make it quick. I did the standard Fred Valaris when I was really little. And I kind of grew up I was always a physical kid, so I was like getting in trouble and stuff like that. So my mom was putting me in martial arts. And then I started playing football, and then I found wrestling when I was like 12. And then when I found wrestling, I was
Hooked.
super hooked. And my coach was an Olympian and a world champ, so I just kind of fell into the right hands. He was actually my science teacher, Shirzad Ahmadi. He was from Iran, and he was just a beast, and I had no idea. So I started wrestling with him, and then I was kind of around combat all the time. And then seeing jiu-jitsu, you know, I was 8th grade, I think I saw UFC, so it was like 1999 or something, and that was like so cool to me. And I lived in the same town as Matt Bissett. We were really good friends. So between wrestling and watching the UFC, we were doing like this like little fight club thing. It was just started like lighting a fire for me. And then I wrestled in high school and took it really serious, traveled all over. Wrestled in college, was doing jiu-jitsu starting when I was like 17, started to dabble, but you know how it was like, there was no videos for the most part, and it was like, YouTube was kind of sketchy for it, like you get some stuff, so you're kind of figuring out, watching like Pride videos and you know, watching Sakuraba and Gracie, and then I met Kip Kolar, and he was like, hey, you want to fight? And I think I was a sophomore in college at the time, and I was like, yeah, why not? Let's see what happens.
See what happens.
Yeah, and I had your life was changed in the no time limit match. My life was changed. Well, I had already thought I was pretty built for that kind of activity, but man, my first pro fight was so tiring. I was just blown away with how big of an adrenaline dump I had had. And so, yeah, it changed my life. I was hooked forever.
Was that reality fighting at Mohegan? Or something?
No, this was like in 2007.
Okay, so back a ways.
Yeah, in New Hampshire.
Okay.
Yeah. Matt and I had our pro debuts together. But yeah, I just was always involved. I've never not been off. Since I was 12, I haven't left the mats.
At all. Still.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I live on them, and I always have. So yeah, I knew this was I wanted to open a gym when I was 16.
And you opened this place in what year again?
2016.
2016?
I think, yeah.
That's great. I've always heard great things about it. Every time someone mentions this place, people always say, oh, it's an awesome place to train, great place to train, great guys.
Thank you.
So,
appreciate it.
You know, because in the jiu-jitsu world, you know that once your name is out there and it has a reputation behind it, it sticks.
It's big and it's small.
Yeah.
It's big and it's small.
I got to be honest. I'm new to that part of that. I don't know.
Yeah, he lives in his bubble of MMA and jiu-jitsu.
No, but everybody always has good things to say.
Honestly, like when I say I live on the mats, I don't do, for the most part. That's like I don't even. I meet like me, dude. You've been in the game forever, and I'm just meeting you. And it's not that it's just.
Yeah.
Same.
No, I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. I mean,
you like. I just like a little hermit.
Yeah. Wait, in a good way. I mean, it's
guys. Yeah.
It's created something really awesome
No,
here.
yeah, you guys got something.
And
I appreciate it, man.
And I mentioned it to him when we started getting in contact. I was like, man, because I mean, Doug was in there. Doug was part of you guys. I was New England sub, and I mean, you guys competed against each other before.
Did we?
Yeah.
Yes.
Zapatero. But it was we're kind of
Oh,
like
okay.
It was a good one.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
When he did that, the 5-man tournament, I think.
Oh
it was.
yeah.
That was like Racing
Yep.
Farmington Valley?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
the
I think it was the last
quintet,
time, the
the
last
quintet.
Zapatero.
Okay.
Last Zapatero we had up there.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the other hermit thing. I don't pay attention to. Any,
It just goes.
I didn't even know. Yeah.
Yeah, so we were on this island of ourselves, and I so wanted to be, part of that groups and connect with you guys. So I'm really happy that that's happening.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, and of course, Joey, everybody knows Joey Carta.
Yes. Well, here my background. Well, I started training. Actually, you had Eric Lindell on your podcast.
Yep.
I forget what number it was.
It was a ways back.
But I can't start my journey without talking about Eric, because we grew up together. He just recently got his black belt up at Gracie, which I was there
Sick.
for, and we beat him down. He earned it. He earned it, but
What a weird way to celebrate.
we beat him down hard, man. Everybody, Jay Linger's got his black belt that day. But me and Eric, growing up together, he asked me if I wanted to do that UFC stuff that our buddy Frank Latino was doing. And
Dog Pound, the original Dog Pound.
Original Dog Pound, yep. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. So we ended up first coach being this guy Elias Rivera, some old school dude from the Bronx that we used to train hard, and I loved it. That's what changed my life. If there was that, and the difference between myself mentally between my first pro fight and my second one. My first one, I was so nervous that it robbed me of energy, like physically I could feel it. Second pro fight, I'm as calm as I am right now, having this conversation. And I'll never, to this day, I will never forget the way that felt. It was mind-boggling to me. I was like, what training?
Is that stress inoculation? Getting used to it?
Training, and that's what we used to do. Like, Elias used to beat us down, and we loved it, We were training on a carpet. That's all we had.
When I was talking about
That's
my
all we had. You got the rug burns.
Do
You
you
know,
know Krikor Papazian?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that's how I started training, and it was in his attic on a carpet.
on
I
a
would have
carpet.
such bad rug burns
There
on
would
my
be like
back.
3 of those old beat-up, fold-up mats.
Yep.
And there was 2 of them, so if you were the 2 guys that had room to train on there, that was good. Everybody else was on carpet.
Yeah, you're on carpet.
No shirt on,
Yeah.
barefoot, like, But that was, that kind of developed my training mentality for jiu-jitsu. Just to train hard. There's one way to train, and it's to train hard all the time, for the most part. Not Daisy Fresh hard, but hard within reason, where we're getting something out of it without knocking ourselves out of training for 6 months. So then, once I got hired by Department of Correction in 2006, I had my last pro fight October, got hired in December. Still trained MMA a little bit while I was first in the department, but then just was just more to jiu-jitsu, right? So then pretty much in 2007, I just started training BJJ. Was still doing Muay Thai regularly for about another 2 or 3 years after that. I dabbled in Aikido and Judo and some other stuff, but jiu-jitsu has just always been, and then it's just been nothing. But BJJ, 2007, pretty much got my black belt in 2014. So it took me 7 years to get black belt, which is, sometimes I wonder if I was lied to somewhere along the way. Just am I really, But so it'll be 9 years next year as black belt, which is insane.
That is,
That's crazy.
But that's the great thing that you guys were talking about. When I put the messages out for what we're going to discuss, I had 25 dudes within, I'm saying 24 hours because I checked it later on, but it was probably within 2 hours there were 25 responses.
Yeah.
It was, and that's just from us. 18 years doing it in the state of Connecticut. We just know a lot. We've been training together for a very long time.
Exactly. It's funny because oftentimes when parents, I had a parent yesterday call on the phone, want to know about, hey, what does jiu-jitsu do for what will it do for my kid? And I'm like, oh, how long do you have? I'm going to be here a while.
Yeah.
Because, everybody often thinks of the self-defense aspect and the competition aspect of it, but they often overlook that human communication aspect and the ability to come out of your shell and to talk to people and not be shy and to build relationships and have camaraderie among each other. Have that. It's very, like, I've been in law enforcement for 25 years. This is very similar to being in a law enforcement capacity. You have the same ball busting going on. You have the same, brotherhood, sisterhood. You have the same, like, kind of do anything for you if you need it in the moment type of thing. It's very, very similar feeling, which you don't get in a lot of activities.
Which is unfortunate.
It is unfortunate. So one of the things we want to talk about for sure today is obviously we're in Bristol, and unless you've been living under a rock, and even then you would know what happened in Bristol a few weeks ago. A couple of Bristol police officers murdered, not just murdered, but basically called there on purpose for the whole goal of killing them.
Yeah.
And then a third, injured severely, and luckily through his training was able to take down the bad guy, or the evil, I should say. And you guys have come up with an idea to try to help the families. Why don't you guys explain what's going to be going on and the seminar you're going to be holding?
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, it hit us very hard here. Alex Hamsey trained here. A bunch of officers in Bristol that train here. We got word of it very early on, and we were trying to reach out to people to make sure our guys were safe. But shortly after that, I mean, what's come of it has been this incredibly beautiful response of support for those involved and their families. And I knew right away that we needed to do something. And it's like Joey was like reading my mind as well and just like reached out. We got to do something. And I think my first response is like already on it, like trying to put something together. And he's like, well, let's, do something big, and I'll reach out to some people. And then, like he said, it was like within a couple hours, we had a number of black belts reach out. So our plans were to do a seminar. But we had such an overwhelming response. First we were like, this might have to be a 2-day seminar, and we settled on a 1-day, 12-hour seminar, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. We have roughly about, it's almost like 16 black belts.
16 or 17.
Each of you at this table.
Guys are doubling up, because it's like, yeah, man, cool. The more the better.
Yeah, and very cool because we're going to, like you said, those two brotherhoods, sisterhoods, law enforcement and jiu-jitsu, and the support that those communities show for their peers. Now bringing that all together with your Officer Survival Series, and we have the Invictus crew coming down as well, and joining up with all these black belts from all over New England, pretty much, and having it here in Bristol means a lot. I know we're going to have an incredible turnout for it. We've structured it in ways that there's going to be law enforcement, survival training sections, there's gi jiu-jitsu sections, no gi jiu-jitsu sections. So whether you're in law enforcement or just a jiu-jitsu practitioner or just want to come support that day, there'll be a lot for you to experience with a donation that's going to be going to the families of the victims. But I just want to say thank you very much, Joey, for reaching out right then and there, because we didn't waste any time. As soon as we put it to paper, you came one day, we had one conversation, and I was like, all right, I know what I need to do, and we went running with it.
Once I saw the article, I don't know what about the whole situation hit me the way it hit me. Now Lieutenant DeMonte, he's from Middletown, Connecticut, where I grew up, and my father coached him at Middletown High Baseball. So he knew him, because when I talked to my dad, he was like, DeMonte. We had a kid on the team, and he's like, that's, we coached him, And he's like, it just hit me. I don't even, it just hit me really hard. And I was just like, we got to do something. And I was like, what's the best way that I know for all of us to come together in a way that we love, you know, doing two things at once, raising money for people and doing what we love, jiu-jitsu. And the outpouring in the community is so huge and everything. It's been so humbling. I mean, it's been unbelievable. You know, how many guys responded with how quickly they responded, and then it was just like, awesome.
I was texting Dan even as of a few days ago. I'm like, hey, I don't know. I'm sure you're all set with instructors, but I got guys contacting me from California, all over Canada, Texas, everything else. Hey, can I come? And high level jiu-jitsu guys.
It's nuts.
I'll come out I'll fly myself out. I'll pay my own every way. I just want to come be part of it. And I'm like, well, you can come, but they already have enough instructors.
And that's the thing now. We had actually talked about that because we've been doing like a weekly, call them up on every Friday. Just hey, this is what I'm working on so far over here on my end. Where are you at on your end? Okay, cool. Because I can't. My work schedule is, in corrections. It's getting today was actually perfect. Like the 4th, I'm like, we got to do it because I'm not gonna have another day until probably the seminar.
Wow.
To be honest with you.
Now, how long had Alex trained here?
So I'll let Jeff, because he worked with him there.
So he was here about 4 classes. I think he did 1 when I was not here and 3 with me. We ran this LEO kind of like 3-month to 5-month course where the Bristol Police were kind of putting our flyers out, and it was geared specifically for the cops. I've always been the data is so clear about how important it is to have cops well trained, and that's been a big thing for me. And it's very clear what its community impact was too. So we were involved with the police in Bristol. He is friends with some of the guys here, Tyler Musel, Nick DeFazio, and Alex Cookno, who's a member here. So he
I know Tyler pretty well.
Yeah, so
Tyler's come to my course.
So he was obviously friendly with those guys. So he came through, and he was just a really nice guy. He's really well known in town. I did a little interview regarding him, and they didn't finish one of the things I said. I said he was the center of attention, but I clarified that I didn't mean he wanted the center of attention. He was just a really you wanted to pay attention to him. He was nice. He was inquisitive, charismatic. He was good looking. He was athletic. He kind of was the total package. So you just paid attention to him. So he was in here. So obviously when we found out, being tied to the community and stuff, I found out, I think I got a text at 12 a.m. that night, so it just happened, and I got a text, and there was obviously a lot of confusion on the exact specifics, but yeah, it was not good. Not good, and so it was perfect timing, that happens, and then immediately this kind of comes together, so yeah, I mean, like you said, it was kind of a great way to even add to it, say not only that we can do the things we love, but the thing we love is
helping people.
So good at helping the community, because it's good for the cops and it's good for the civilians. Well-trained cops are happy, healthy civilians, especially when they share that activity.
I made sure when the first post that I put out on Facebook after me and Dan talked, I had posted and specifically said that the mats are so much more than the physical aspect. Once you've been training for a specific amount of years and time, and you've sacrificed and struggled and had your successes and everything else on the mat, you kind of understand that this is therapy.
It's sacred.
It's and that's probably the best word for it. If I could even find a deeper word for it than sacred, and that's what I hope this can be for all the officers that were involved, officers that responded to it that might come and train. I know my buddy Matt Hamill is a sergeant at Southington. He's on the emergency response team that he was with Alex. He responded to the shooting, so I know this is going to be good for him. We've talked since then, and I know he's really, really excited for this, and he understands I can say after 16 years in corrections that this mat has been a lifesaver more times than
that. Next morning would have been a Thursday, and so just a few hours after this happened, we were having the 5th, because we do that 8-week class for law enforcement, and it was our 5th week that week. And I get up in the morning, I see what's happened, and I have all the text messages from people around the state, and I get to the, there's no real time to cancel the class necessarily, so I get down to my academy and everybody starts showing up. And as the doors are opening and people are coming in, there are several that knew these guys. And they're walking in the door and just fall apart. They're tears, they can't speak. I have to bring them into my office, sit them down. And so then I got everybody together and I said, hey, we don't have to do this today. We can do this another day. What do you guys want to do? I'll leave it to you. And unanimously, all 32 of them said, fuck no, we're staying here and we're training. And they got on the mats and they trained, and some of them in the beginning trained through tears. And by the end of the day, the camaraderie that they had built with each other, and so many of them came up to me, this was the place for me to be today. Because I would have done nothing but dread on this outside of here. It got me, training and thinking, getting my mind off of it temporarily, and just felt so much better emotionally at the end of the day because they were able to have that outlet.
Yeah, we actually had a similar conversation because a lot of businesses were closing here in town.
We even talked about closing ourselves.
Yeah, we had a conversation, and ultimately we decided what we do is cathartic. It's helpful. It's like we should be open. It's like if there's any time that we should be open, we should be open. We need to let these people get on the mats and work it out there. And we got a bunch of messages after that from the same thing, being happy that they were able to be there, not
release.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'll tell you, I haven't been to Bristol in a little while, but coming through this morning, coming down the street, just the signs everywhere. It chokes you up. You see all the signs of the supporting the police and the thin blue line flags and everything else, and it kind of brings you back to, like people will often say, they don't want another 9/11, but they pray for the day that 9/12. Just the way people come together in the community. And obviously, this is more localized, but it's a very similar.
It's the same response. Just smaller scale.
It's a tighter. The Bristol's cool. When I moved here, I obviously didn't even know Bristol existed. But when I got here, I met a guy named Bryant Lishnas, who's a great guy in town. He's very involved with the community. And I kind of realized really quickly after being at the Boys and Girls Club, and I coached, so I volunteered there. I coached at the Bristol Eastern High School. I helped out at Bristol Central. So there was things, you start to see the town's fabric. And what is cool about here is it is for the 63,000 people, they're proud. That's like blue collar people. They're proud of if you know the police officers, you like the police officers, the fire department. Like those people are well liked in this town. Not every town has that, and obviously there's some pieces of the town that would probably disagree. But all in all, it's like a very supportive town. So when this happened, it was even it was even better in regards to people's respect for each other, and this town already had that. So the fact that you're getting more of that, I think, in the long run, not that we wish those deaths, but we'll make something of it, right? We're doing something now. The town's gonna come together, grow stronger from it. So what that guy tried to do is cause harm and division, but in the long run, it's just gonna make people closer and more respectful of each other and more value each other's time more.
Correct. I agree entirely. It's funny, I've had obviously relatives and family and friends and stuff like that over the years that weren't necessarily involved in law enforcement, but were supportive of it. But they would see, hey, there's a line of duty death or something like that, and they'd be, I don't understand why, if you didn't know them, you didn't work with them, why do all these cops show up from all over the country? And they kind of they weren't getting it sometimes. And then after this one here, they're like, oh man, I get it. Like I live in Connecticut, on the other side of Connecticut, and I'm like tearing up watching the TV because it's like, man, these guys went to work, beginning of their shift. I believe it was the beginning of their shift, and there's a lot of dangerous jobs out there. But how many jobs do you go to on a daily basis where someone could be planning to take you? And that's, I think, what people don't really realize until it happens close to home.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Then it really hits them. But I think it's amazing what you guys are doing. It definitely. As soon as I saw all this happen, I'm like, the jiu-jitsu community will do something. I hadn't even known the connection yet. And then I saw you started the post, and then I saw the connection with you, and I'm like, yeah, there it is. And it's like out of Sandy Hook, we ended up with black belts for butterflies and different things like that. And And of course, we would never trade, the event for these events.
No, no.
But at the end of the day, if we could make some light of it, it's the best thing to do.
That's and that's how it's got to be looked at. We'd much rather not be having this podcast right now.
Correct.
But we are, so we got to do something positive for the families. Is whatever little drop we can do, because I think I've already seen an article saying they were close to like $1 billion being raised for these families already, which is insane.
Which is incredible, and it is a lot of money, but over the lifetime of 3 families, it's not.
No, $1 million isn't a lot at all.
So doing these things, and who knows, I don't know what comes of this, but we've talked about it, and this can be an annual thing, because the last thing you want is and the families don't want this either. It's this big emotional response, and then as time goes on,
December 18th, it's over.
Things
it's like
out.
December 17th.
So
the
we
seminar,
don't want
and
that.
18th,
We want
it's all
it to
done,
keep going, and if we can do our part, and it can be something that is an annual thing that keeps allowing us to give to these families, that'd be amazing.
That'd be so cool.
So I do want to shout out a couple
Absolutely.
companies that are helping us out. There's Maxwell Metals. They are providing commemorative medallion coins for this event, which is really cool. They do our medals for Ironman and Ascension Grappling. They were really awesome. A company called Line of Duty Cigars is providing some cigar gifts and baskets for silent raffle, and then Line of Duty Cigars for all the officers that come that day as well. Cafe Real, who's a local coffee place here in town, is going to be here, and they'll be providing coffee all day for whoever wants it, and at no charge, just donating it all. And then Box Bistro out of Berlin, Connecticut, it's a meal prep company who's going to be providing food for all the instructors that day. So it's just really cool to see just people coming together for this and making something really nice happen.
Excellent. So again, the date is?
It'd be December 17th, Saturday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 12 hours, probably about 16 or 17 black belts right now.
And registration, how do they register?
Registration, you can go to, we have a Facebook group.
Yep.
Actually, Dan, I'm going to kick that over to you because I'm not good with the...
Yeah, sure, no problem.
that stuff.
Right on our Ascension Athletics page, the event is pinned right to the top. The donation link is there as well.
On Facebook.
On Facebook. It's on our Instagram as well. It's linked right to our homepage there. It's the first thing you'll see when you click the link in the bio. It'll say the BJJ Super Seminar. We don't have it on our site, right? So
no, it's not.
We can probably put it up on our site as well. Donation link, the event link is there. Once you donate through that link, we'll have your name, so we'll know that you can come in that day. It's set for $40 minimum, but you can donate whatever you can over $40.
Oh, that's amazing. And for those of you that don't go to jiu-jitsu seminars, that's a pretty cheap seminar.
Yeah,
for 12 hours?
Yeah,
for all black belts. Well, actually, we're going to have one of the instructors, Miguel. He's going to be doing something different than jiu-jitsu, and then a retired captain from Department of Correction, Brian Zielinski, is going to be doing some open hand stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited to see what he does, because he's, as far as Filipino martial arts goes, he's one of the top guys in the world.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm really excited to see what he's going to do.
Yeah, that's real cool. So it's broken up into different blocks, which we're going to put out what everyone's teaching, because that first block, which is yourself and your officer survival group, and then I'm missing the Invictus guys' names. What's the gentleman's name?
Oh, Jay.
Jay from Invictus is also going to be doing a officer survival slot there as well, so that'll be really cool for any officer in any department around that can make it, if you haven't taken this course, and if you haven't experienced jiu-jitsu, it'd be a really cool thing to do, and even if you have, you already know what it's about. Come on down. After that, we'll have some gi sessions, and then some no-gi sessions, and as you said, some open palm. I think he actually mentioned he's going to do some survival tactics there,
Which is cool.
Brian, and then we have Miguel doing some intro to MMA as well.
Excellent.
So, yeah.
Well, I really appreciate you guys, your time and putting this together. I know from running many events over the years, it's a tremendous amount of work. Often things people don't see behind the scenes being done, but I appreciate what you guys are doing, and can't wait to be here on December 17th.
Yeah, I think it's going to be something special.
Oh yeah.
So I think it's gonna be
Absolutely.
something really special.
Absolutely.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Thanks,
for sure.
guys.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you. Thanks, Rob.
No problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know when there's 3 members off with the driver and all, they're just running mode, taking them into custody.